if I like click start, it's like, anyways. All right, we are officially live.
Nice. Hey, it's not a show without some technical difficulties. I mean, you come for the technical difficulties, you get a little divination.
Win-win.
That's it, man. That's the truth.
uh,
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Welcome, I think, episode 8.
yeah.
So good time for a meal. Of course, eight's the past tense of eat, so maybe today we'll look at what we've eaten. I don't know. Not sure. Maybe we'll look at what you eat in the spiritual realm or the soulful realm, the physical realm, maybe the different type of foods. Tis May. So
Yeah.
happy May. There's a lot going on in May with the May core when you're making stuff. I mean, how we get the matrix. So you've
Yeah.
pretty much got a nice little time of year here to, I don't know, get some divination. Absolutely.
We have Joshua White joining us again. Thanks a lot for tuning in, man.
Hey Josh, welcome on, man. Yeah, Josh, good people. And me and him have pretty much been chatting a lot back and forth through the week, so I'm sure there'll be a bunch of things popping up.
Is he
We're
on
going off
Discord?
about. No, I think he's got some kind of internet issue where, well, like, a lot of these kind of programs don't run well on his phone and stuff or whatever he's got. So,
I see.
yep. But I'm trying to get him on. We'll get him over here. All right, let me see. And then
Sick.
we should have, I know Amy's tuning in, car full of kids driving. So if you're out
Oh.
there, I love you, baby.
Safe travels.
And, yep, safe travels. And
Nice.
then we'll have some other people tuning in. And of course, it'll be, I mean, when you put something down in the ethers, it's there through time period, all aspects of time. So you could be, from our perspective, thousands of years in the future. And you know what? Good day to you too.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. I mean, you could have been way back in the medieval ages, but you still have access to the same ether. And you can still, once you're on the other side, you can experience anything you want. And you can experience, everything's available. It's part of the rules of this system. So if you want to come here and play, when you don the equipment in this system, you pretty much agree that this is all available for knowledge purposes. So you will let anything experience the way you experience things. So if you want to feel what it's like, for, let's say you had a really awesome day, and or like a wedding day, or like a child was born, or this amazing chocolate cake that you ate that you've never I mean, all of these things, all these intense memories, when you're savoring them, when you're building them, that's how you come back to them, is through those feelings. So the feeling stores all that information, and that takes you outside of time. That's what the fixed cross is. That's what, the fixed is eternal. So the feeling of something is that air. So that Capricorn Aquarian Pan situation right there, the Earth air combo. I mean, you've got ancient Saturn right there before there was ever a fall. You've got the original tropic positions perfect. There's no 23.5-degree wobble where the east laid down on its back and became the west, and you can see that, as we talked about that with Neptune's trident. But we've pretty much got, I mean, just think of that. You can go in, you can come back on a life review. You can go in any part of your life. You can even go, let's say, in your partner's life. Let's say there was a time when they had done something and you didn't understand it, and you really want to see that from their angle. I mean, that's available. You can, instead of just reading in a book, you don the body, you don the whole set of life circumstances up until that point, and then you get to go through that moment, kind of seeing what it's like with the same exact situation, and then you can get the true knowledge of it from the individual center or perspective.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
so that's why there's always somebody. I mean, people think you can go hide in the closet, or I mean, you can do things privately there. That's a big fallacy to think that anything is hidden. Everything is viewed. Everything is, you're an open book. Um, the whole inside is connected. So that is the whole one system. Everything pops out from the inside. And as you go outside, all roads lead to Rome, ROAM. So you're literally roaming around in separatedness, but you're still connected internally. So the monad internal system, the mono, the moon, that, and then think of the sun put in living color, popping you onto the left and the right, off that middle, off that mono, off that moon, off that straight line, off that crystal potassium, that salt. So we've got, I mean, you've got your building blocks, and you've got your expression, or your color, or your um your gardens, and your nice flowy creeks and rivers. And I mean, it's a it's a beautiful system, man. So you're never alone. This whole entire thing is, it's part of, it's, there's a contract involved. There's everything here. Everything here goes off into the memory system. You've got freaking Pegasus just collecting it all with the hippocampus. Everything has feeling. The oak tree, everything. I mean, even inanimate objects. I mean, everything's got feeling. You wouldn't be able to be here in this realm without it. Like, it's a necessary internal ingredient. So I think that internal system that I'm talking about, that oneness, is a very, it's a reservoir of all feeling and everything that has been done and will be done. And then, so, like, let's say from our perspective, when something new comes along, um, that's why there's nothing new under the sun. You're literally pulling up something that's been waiting for you, waiting for us, waiting to be remembered. So yeah, man, it's a killer system. Tell you what.
Yeah.
Well, Todd, let's before I go crazy, how's your week been, man? You got anything new on your side? I think we had the Tartaria folk last week, and
Yeah, that was
then
great.
you
We'll do
see
that
anything,
again.
anything synchronicity coming across your path?
Well, excuse me. Uh,
You're good.
so, uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess the last couple weeks, I know like a couple weeks ago I talked about a lot about words and like, I mean, obviously I'm always interested in language and stuff, but I was talking about
Right.
Florence Scovel Shinn and being more aware of your words and understanding words, and I've been learning more about that. I've been a lot more aware of how I use my own words, and when I say stuff like I can't, and I notice when I notice a lot now when people say that themselves. They say, "Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that," and I'm always like, "Man, like you really shouldn't say that stuff." But
Right. Right. That's damaging for your being.
yeah, yeah, and it's so and but I'm also if you know Nathan on the Evolved Care Solutions chat,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Yep, yep.
he turned me on to a guy called Marshall Rosenberg for a subject called nonviolent communication, and I like that a lot too. It's again really pertaining to language, and so I'm learning that. I don't. When I first got into it, I was like, okay, this is cool. Seems difficult, but I was.
Yeah.
It just made me think that the AUI language is totally like could be really good because it's all designed to force you to mean what you say and say what you mean. Uh,
Right. There's no puns. There's no puns.
right, yeah, and it's like
There's no plane is a plane is a plane is a plane. There's none of that shit. Because I mean, and it's
right,
true. When you echo something from the depths of the unseen, you're pulling in a form. Every word, every sound that's echoed, it has form to it. When you echo these, like let's take, so real quick, the word jet and the word fit. Okay, these contain the two quickest sounds, the I and the E in each one of those words. Now say jet real slow silently and then look where it comes off your tongue. It's right off
Yeah.
the tip. Yeah,
Yep.
it's the is what we're looking for, and it's coming right off that tip in the front. And then say fit. Now look at it. Now look at the what it does. It is right at the very tippy top. So it's the quickest. It just comes down and it's like a little dot at the top. So you've got like two very outer electrons right there, two very quick and fast sounds or movements. So I mean that matters, right? Literally it matters, like it matters here. And when those frequencies get onto a sulfur stick, which is what's binding everything. All these little individual things that you see around all have some kind of sulfur in them somehow.
Mm.
And because you couldn't have anything without sulfur at its center. And that sulfur is the stickiness. It's the black. Really, there's crystal inside the sulfur first, giving some kind of cosmic electric, probably principle or some kind of cosmic depths to your internal light world or something. I'm not sure, but I know that the clear bursts the black, bursts the white, bursts the red. And at that stage right there, what the black's doing on that inner bone, we've gone over this, it's grabbing things. I just walked past a deer skull in the forest, and it's
Nice.
probably been there for months, and there's still chunks of brain inside of it. I mean, it's still holding on to pieces of skin. Like, and this thing has been attacked by the animal kingdom, the insect kingdom, the weather kingdom. I mean, the freaking everything has been eaten away at this, and this thing is still holding on to stuff. So,
Yeah.
and then it had its teeth, right? So you can see right there in one snapshot, the outer bone, nothing sticks to that. I mean, what a good spot to stick outer bones in your mouth for I guess they're not for chewing food. They're for fucking forming words. They're for breaking apart sound into words. That's what your teeth is probably the original aspect of them. And then they turned it into a food eating system. And then all these different organs started developing in us. But even the sound system that we're using right now, that's the reptile beings. So that entire
Right.
system is the snake on its belly. I mean, sound world. I mean, if you wanna fuck around here and be a Billy Badass, you would have to be in good with the reptiles because the reptiles is the tongue. I mean, that's the silver tongue. That is the snake on its belly. I mean, it's a dragon without wings, and the dragon with wings is where the sound comes from. So that's the unseen thought world, the father, the right, and then you've got of course the visible, the matter, the left, and then you've got the transparent where mom and pa came from, the two and one, and the eternal and the parentless, and it's one parent. You notice how it doesn't have an S at the end, so it's yeah, man, it's that word system is the AUE too. It does force you to say what you mean, and it also has a mark for each one too. So it
Right.
has a symbol. There's a symbol for the sound. There's a symbol for the concept, a sound for the concept, and there's a meaning. So it's dead on. I mean, if you're listening and you want to check out what we're talking about, it's called AUI, AUI, and
They have a
I think
website
that
too.
yeah, they do.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was a little surprised too. I went on there and it seems like they slimmed down some of the symbols, which I think is a good idea because there was like 30, and then in the book it's
Yep.
like 31, then it's 33, and I'm like because I took a bunch of notes, and like I say, when I got into that, I was like, this is a lot like what I'm teaching as far as drawing, which is amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep chipping away at that. But yeah.
That book is really what triggered me hard in like 2019. That and the Box Saga, that sent me on a serious journey I'm still on.
Nice.
Or it just really kick-started the journey I've been on, I suppose. I mean, that it's hard to find that AUE book too. I mean, I got a used copy from the 70s. I mean, with pages falling out, and I still paid like 30-40 bucks. So you can
Mm.
find it, I think, online, like a new copy for about the same price. But it's not as hard to find as that one book, The Language Crystal. I mean, you can't get out of
Yeah.
paying like $100, $120 for that one, and I'm still working through that. That's another beautiful work.
I got that for I think like $80, but that was 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to 120 now on
Well, get
eBay.
this. I just bought a book. It's becoming really hard to find, but I got it for
What do you got?
$120, and it's
What?
all the other versions are $1,000. So I think I
No
gotta get.
way, dude. What do
Yeah.
you what? Like, yeah, fill us in.
It's called ayahuasca analogs. It is
Ooh, no
it's
way. Wow,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna learn more
dude.
about is it botany? Yeah, I'm drifting more into plant knowledge and botany. There
I
is a
love it.
obviously if you watch this, you know I'm very psychedelically minded. So I
Yeah, yeah.
I did a trip recently
Uh-huh.
on the full moon. Actually, I did a trip and
On the Scorpio full moon when Pluto was going retro. Awesome,
yeah,
dude.
yeah, it
That was my
wasn't.
birthday.
Oh
My
no
solar
way!
return.
Happy
Yeah,
birthday!
dude. Hey, yeah, yeah. Did you came and saw me? That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a full break. It's hard to explain. I'll just be honest. It's a lot of
I
words that
got
I don't have yet, and but it was
yeah.
good, and it was the one thing that came through. I was like, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me the shamans in the rainforest are doing ayahuasca, which ayahuasca is like extended DMT trips? I'm like,
Right,
I need more time to figure this space out because I'm going to be able to help everyone go to that space when you won't need to do any medicine or anything. So I was like,
right.
I'm just going to get this book. I don't care what it costs right now. I mean, if it was $1,000, I wouldn't have bought it. But
Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome, dude. I mean, you're gonna have to share some stuff out of that because one of the things that really interests me about about ayahuasca is that people that use it, they bring back there's continuity in the report. So you could have people all over the world trying it, and they're going to a similar realm. So they're
yeah,
accessing similar things. So it's really neat to have a whole book of that so you can look through the continuity of things and see the patterns I mean that's beautiful. And of
yeah,
course that's real knowledge right there. I mean, we're still in a world where 98% of the world's going to laugh at something like that. I mean, Josh, I was just talking with him this morning, he's I mean, the guy's just packed full, especially with detail, I mean, I have a fallacy of just kind of letting the intuition blow free, and it's just throwing up everywhere. And then when I talk to Josh, man, he really hammers things home and can pin things down, and it forces me to go back on the huge intuition spill and to actually, start getting the full message on what was really given. So, I mean,
hmm
but he was just telling me this morning, like he doesn't have any in he works a lot with metal, really everything, just chemistry. I mean,
awesome.
chemistry, metals, alchemy,
You know,
just
hardcore
symbolism in
alchemist.
general. Yeah, he's master symbolist. I mean, he's really good at seeing patterns and the real patterns.
Yeah,
And like he's just saying this morning, like I don't have engineers or people that could use this following me or listening to me or asking questions or interested or curious. I mean, it's we're in a world where it's very, very difficult to get the real messages out there to people because we're in such a data saturation world where they're just overfilling it with unnecessary shit everywhere. We're so saturated in just information that it's hard to even get to the real nuggets and gems anymore. I mean, you're
yeah,
up against a nasty algorithm anyways, so anything like this, any show like this that's sitting in the back corners of the internet, it's a hopefully a real gem when people stumble upon it and whatnot. I mean, hopefully people can get real things out of it and whatnot, and that's the goal is to to help people. And
yeah. I
yeah,
feel like that's where
yeah,
art really. I mean, that's where obviously where my other big angle is art. So I feel like that's working. I mean, I yesterday I went out. Chance. in the morning I went to the grocery store and saw, they got a bulletin board and there was a little postcard for a show, an Alex Gray and Mir One print show.
Uh-huh.
And so I
Okay.
went and met the owner of the building, Taylor. She was awesome, and showed me all the art. And then, dude, out of the blue, a friend of mine from Michigan, which is 3 hours from me, showed up,
Right.
and he was like meeting a
Wow.
bunch of people that he knew there. And then I met a bunch of people through him. And then I went to some uh like a mural painting slash like just like people enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
It was like I was actually a bit overwhelmed because I haven't been super public obviously lately,
Yeah, yeah.
with the world. So I was like, holy hell, this is amazing and like very motivational with people
That's really cool,
doing
Todd.
stuff.
That's
Yeah.
a big deal, man, when you're meeting people you know that just happen to show up at things that live 3 hours away. I mean, that's the universe working right there, dude.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I mean, when I was in China, I met like some random dude who like I don't remember how, but it was like literally in Beijing. It was like outside Beijing at like the freaking wall or something like that. We met like some like Texan dude who literally was like synchronously like matching the conversation that we were just having, and this is
Wow.
like middle of nowhere in China. It's just like what the heck. But
Right.
yeah, man.
That's
So
nuts,
like
man.
yeah, like yesterday it was a great vibe booster for me. Like it was so nice to be with people, normal like interaction, and I showed a lot of people my art and got a lot of
Cool,
great
man.
vibes there. And yeah, man,
Dude, all
that's
those, I bet you're gonna have networking things come out of that situation. I mean,
that's
there'll
what we
be something
drew.
here down the road where that event will come into play, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, when we did our cards last week, it was a lot about communication and stuff. So I think that's just progressing, and we finally have warm weather here in the
Yep.
Midwest. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. How about you?
Absolutely. Man, it's been a decent week. So yeah, let me think. Sunday. So yeah, Tuesday, kind of a busy start to the week. We had a lot going on, so I mean, I just kind of got caught up in, all the fun Earth family activities.
Right.
Had a killer solar return on Tuesday on my birthday. It was a neat birthday this year for me, and I think I figured something out a little bit about 38-year cycles. I think that's the Pluto Saturn cycle right there. It's right around 38 years, and it also has something to do with the moon because the moon was a rising full moon on my birthday, pretty much in the same degree as Scorpio there, which puts me late Libra sidereally, and it's just odd because of course Saturn and Pluto are near each other. They just conjuncted, last January, so they're still very close. And then um, it just got me thinking how there's these larger cycles. I mean, really every year, you're going to be hitting certain trines, certain squares. Those outer planets move. Those okay, I shouldn't even use planet. Those outer wandering stars move so slowly that
Yeah.
we sit in some of these angles for a long time, and they take a long time to come back around.
Yeah.
It got me looking at the I pulled up some 9/11 charts when the planes exactly hit. I wanted to see how far Saturn and Jupiter had separated out of their conjunction, and it's about almost a sign. It's right around 27, 28 degrees separating. And then I noticed that a rare inconjunct angle was formed between the Sun and Uranus, and th- that doesn't happen that much in a year, and it's the rarest angle, of course, the 150-degree angle. You can only have a 2-degree slip on each side before you end up in a new shape. And at the time of the first plane hitting, Mercury was exactly on the ascendant, so at pretty much line dead nuts on the ascendant. And it was in the center of Libra, like 15 degrees Libra, so right on the
Hmm.
balance, right on the almost on the Peter point. So Josh, once again this week, was talking about balancing wheels and how you throw a little weight on there to balance the wheel out at the end,
Yeah.
And if you think about Libra is like the little weight that you add. And if you think of Peter as the stone, as the rock that Christ built his church upon. He built it upon the balance, and the Peter is going to be the tip of the balance. Because if you think if something peters either way, it can go this way or that way, and it throws it off balance. I kind of got shown that through that this week. I was going to tell you right at the time the first plane hit, that 150-degree angle between Uranus and the sun. Uranus is consciousness, and the sun is what how consciousness is being expressed and what something is. That hit at the exact moment the first plane hit at 8:46, 8:47, and then at my birth, I have that exact Uranus sun in conjunct. And
Wow.
it just, yeah, it made me feel like whatever that was, I was either involved somehow spiritually. Like, I think there might have been something big that was happening that day that was beautiful that they were trying to hide through that event. So
You want to know
I
what I
have
was
no
doing?
idea, but what do you got? What were you doing?
I was playing Diablo too.
No way.
No joke, man.
That's cool, man.
I
Lords of
remember,
Destruction.
because I used to play hardcore and like just constantly. I remember like, so we had
Me
off
too,
school
man.
that day because of so we were in a kind of small town, but that was like a day everyone would peace out of school and just go to the
Uh-huh.
fairgrounds. And so they gave us
Nice.
off. So I just stayed home and I was playing Diablo. And I remember like walking out and like watching, like for some reason someone had the news on. And I was like, what? And then I literally watched it for a few minutes and then I just went back and just started playing Diablo again.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I was in tech school. I had just joined the military 3 months
Oh.
prior in July, or 2 months, and I just got out of basic training in the Air Force, and I was in um, Wichita Falls, Texas, and Shepherd Air Base. And then there was this odd time where before you start your classes, you're pretty much their slave for a week or two, cleaning shit. And I was just cleaning, mopping a floor, and then it all happened. The whole base started like putting guards up at doors everywhere, and we went
Yeah.
into some FP Delta, which is some threat level, and it turned into like hyper awareness everywhere real quick. I mean, it was dumb. All of a sudden, the guy bringing in mail became a potential terrorist that day, and the whole world changed.
Yeah,
You know,
nobody knew what was going on. It was very melancholic. I don't know, but yeah, it was.
same thing though. People crowded around a TV, dude. I mean, and
Yeah,
if you think of Mercury being on the ascendant, right there, dude, the fucking media. I mean, you've got Mercury communication, and it's pretty. And Saturn was also trining Mercury on the ascendant, so it was putting it into matter. They were using Loki, the low key. Um, you need the low key to open the low door to get to the next level. So they're just trying to fuck us up. That's all they're trying to do with that. They advanced us. Something like that will
sort
send us
of.
forward much quicker.
Yeah.
So
You know what
I
else
was gonna tell you.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. You're good, brother. Go ahead.
So I remember we've been talking about Ragnarok, and that's actually a
Yep.
synchronicity I kind of forgot, but I should mention it. So if you don't know the Ragnarok story, like definitely check it out. I really recommend Neil Gaiman's book because he makes it very
There's been
entertaining.
multiple ones, right? There's been some like multiple Ragnaroks, right? There's the
Probably.
most recent one.
Well, I think it's just a. I think literally all it's telling you is the same shit as like the Mayan or the Santos Bonacci sequence of 13 essentially. So you've got 1 through 13, 13 being your transition to start over, and
Yep.
then being your pi and all that. But like because I was like I felt like a few months, this is probably 6 months ago, probably like I felt like the horn, which is how it all starts, right? And there was like
Right.
some big event where they did that. They did that. And then I started noticing recently because because I think about this stuff too much, but I was like, you know what? I think we're literally in the throes of Ragnarok right now, but
Yeah.
it's not like the story, like everyone's not murdering each other and stuff
Right.
necessarily. However, and this goes to our cards we drew with mutual betrayal and
Right.
communication cards, where you do really right now have, you do have brother against father and mother against whatever, because
Yeah,
with communication, right? So like we're people
right.
are realizing like, hey, like certain relationships aren't beneficial to me. Like I've had to do that. I've had to look at a lot of my relationships and just be like this isn't like useful for me. Like this doesn't help. Where I'm trying to go. And so I think we
Right.
are at Ragnarok. I mean, it sounds insane, I
I like
guess,
it.
but
I think we are too, Todd. I mean, I think a Ragnarok is a placeholder for the end and the beginning all in one time spot. So and it's not always the same kind of destruction. It's
yeah,
symbolic for, something that is being destroyed and rebuilt, and it doesn't necessarily have to be physical matter. It can be, socio economical, cultural things too. And I think we're seeing it in that category. I mean, they've really been trying to shift to their one world order, their one world government situation, and but at the same time that might be something cosmically in the cards where this coming together of oneness is in the cards, but they're just trying to shift it into their idea of the oneness. So
right,
it could be a Ragnarok of, I mean, if we are really going from a Pisces to an Aquarius, I mean, something like that would make a lot of sense. You'd go from the 12 to the 11. So you'd go from having two different things to having two of the same thing. So everybody would see the oneness inside themselves. And that would make Aquarius as the man, that 11, which is pretty much that individual pole that everything has. It's probably that it could be potentially that, Aquarius red. It could be that blood system that everybody shares. Everything that's moving. It could be the black sulfur of Capricorn with the blood sticking to that.
hmm,
It's very much a, if you have, and if you look at Uranus ruling over Aquarius right there, being the, probably the true ruler of that section of the sky, you've got the letter U, which shows you that underground sea connecting the 11. So, our true head, our true membrane is probably accessed through the feet and through grounding into the all. And then that's how you get a you. That's how you get me and you is through that. You can only know truly what something is by knowing what you are. And then by knowing what you are, you can relate to other things, from that point forward.
yeah,
Um,
I like that. That's kind of like
that's
McKenna's heart. Well, not really heartfelt. It's prime basic experience. Like when you're doing psychedelics, that's you're having an experience that is super powerful. So yeah, super important.
right, right. So I was going to tell you too, I got into, so Nathan, same Nathan from the Evolved Care server, which if anybody's listening, he's really got a lot of awesome stuff on the server. I mean, and he's very open, so he won't, restrict any ideas just because, this or that might offend somebody. He's, and I see he does get attacked quite a bit sometimes from people or from entities, and he stays real calm, man. I love how you can just see the calmness of his soul. He's a projector too, so
Nice.
I mean, he's just like my partner Amy. Um, they like to feel invited. They like to feel welcomed, like
Yeah.
they're, you know, invited to either speak or give or be in the presence. And it's I love inviting Nathan into a lot of shit in my life. I mean, he just sent me a huge package of pretty awesome stuff to go through, to read through. One of them was something that I had never heard of, and it's this, forgot the guy's name. It's Chester somebody, but he pretty much discovered or came across something called he ended up naming it the Chestahedron.
Oh yeah,
And
I have a
I
picture
don't
of
know,
that.
do you?
Yeah.
It's that shape is, if you can chuck it up on the screen, it's pretty amazing. So what I got out of this, and he even said, he doesn't know what the end result of this work's going to be. He's just a discoverer of it, and he says that people are going to know what to do with it. And if you look at it, you can see there's a secret being shown. It's a pyramid on the bottom, and the pyramid's opening up. And that pyramid is the box. Okay, that's Pandora's box. So it's got four sides. It's actually got the five sides. So
Well,
it's got
yeah. It's in a
four
multi-dimensional
cardinal directions.
object. Just remember
Right.
that too. It's not like a thing, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is. You're right. You're right. So the shape that's in the top of the pyramid, it's coming out of it. So it shows you what's in the box. It shows you that I think this is the spirit fire. I think this is the first fire that everything contains. I'm not sure if this is the quintessence itself. It very well could be because the tetrahedron is just the fire.
Yeah.
And then so inside the fire is the true light. And then because that tetrahedron is just the visible fire, right? So that's the lue. That's what we can see around us. Everything has lue or that kind of fire on it as a body. And, just like the tree absorbs that, and it makes a tree that you can see. But that all within the loo is the actual cosmic fire, which I think is that seven-sided, seven equally spaced shape, and as together, and because it doesn't exist by itself. Notice you don't see that part up top. You don't see that alone. It's attached to the opening pyramid. So, and then it just showed me that's the whole purpose of this system right here, is to know what's in the box before you let it out. That's what we're doing. We came here. We're in the box, and we've let some things out of the box that shouldn't have gotten let out of the box before. And this is the place where we study what the quality of light, the quality of the angles. I mean, because our system is a soul, a single soul, and it's got a personality. So Chiron, the moon of Pluto, is our soul's system, is our soul's mirror of looking back on itself. So when it looks back on itself, it sees Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn as parts of its cosmic wave. So that would all be parts of the sine wave coming in, and those would all be particles or nodes of the wave representing the different parts of the wave. So Pluto being the very first visible point of the wave that we even know about or can even theorize about at this point, is right there, and that's probably showing you that Chiron is the opaqueness or the fog that builds up on the glass. That this is all sitting inside. Probably inside that Christ or that crystal. And as the light comes in, it builds that wave, and those are just the electrons, pretty much. That's all those are, and they move up and down, and they move around the center. So that crystal ball, man, it's in that chestahedron. It fits well with that. Um, so I've been studying that quite a bit this week. I mean, it's a pretty deep concept, so I'm barely kind of scratching the surface, checking out some of his videos on it. But
Yeah.
I think it's a real. I mean, it even shows you when you're looking at it all the chambers in the pyramid. They have the fucking. He shows that the Merkaba is inside of this shape, inside
Right.
of a cube, and then that would show you exactly the way the tunnel systems are lining up in the pyramid. And they knew that those certain angles would bring certain qualities of light, and they were collecting it somehow, either through sun gazing, moon gazing, stargazing, through some kind of gas trapping. I'm not sure, from some kind of. I mean, you would either need a mirror or a crystal to hold the light, and
Mm.
your eye would be one of those mechanisms right there. That's pretty much a crystal lens, and that's beaming in and giving you the visible lose system. And then you have to use that system. You have to see the patterns in that system to get beyond it. So by exactly what we're doing, by studying the nature, by experiencing it, you come to see the patterns. You come to see the deeper knowledge behind it that's holding everything in place. And that's the true Father's workshop right there. That's the place where you want to be, studying at the feet of the Father rather than being a king in the visible matter world. Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is all the
Hmm.
shit you can see, you know. I mean, people get so caught up in it. They get so trapped. It's a big trap, you know, and it's why we want to know what's in the box. Do you want to let stuff out cosmically that's going to give your cosmic soul a bad image of this area of space? I mean, I don't think that's our soul's intention here as an entity, as a mono, as a universe system. So, I think this is the place where we study ourselves. And if you want to get out into the black, which is the B lack, body lack, 13 lack, and become part of pretty much the wave. I mean, you're looking at either the wave or the particle. You're very free with the wave, and that's very much death, and that's very much long, and that's very much eternal. And then you've got the particle, which, you know, it ends up dying of oxidation or something, or I mean, I guess all the different metals would do different things and whatnot. So it's going to depend on what you are, I guess, to how if you oxidate, you know, how you react with Taurus or the ox or the bull. If you're stable, you know, if you're staying in your manger, um, you know, in the center, it's probably where you don't deteriorate. But when you get out on that left and right and you start playing in the impurities, I mean, and that's what's visible, right? That's what we're caught up in is the impurities. And really, that's the confusing part. People don't understand that the impurities get dropped where they go in terms of stability, you know, density. And that's all going to matter when you go to unwind the blueprint that you've been building with your desire system here. That desire is probably that true spiritual fire, that true light. And if you think about it, everything that you do has intention and desire. It's really that we went over that episode one. We started it on intention because it's so important, and that
Yeah.
could be what that shape is right there. That tetrahedron. It could be intention, and
It's,
intention could
hmm.
be the primal fire. Is you've got to have an intent, right? A tent inside. You know, a 10T.
And a
You know,
desire.
a right. And it's the desire. It's on the same axis as will, which
Right.
is the opposite of desire. So, but it's important because the will, I've always thought this was one of the highest spiritual concepts here, but I'm coming to learn that I don't think it is. I think it's actually a pretty weak egoic aspect. I think you definitely need it. And you align it with your intent and with the will of the Father, of course. And you know, it's a because the will can get you in trouble, I've found out. Your stubbornness to just step on your will can
Yeah.
make you miss stuff that you're supposed to be moving and you're supposed to be actually desiring. So it's good for things that you've come to know aren't the best for your being. And even then, like, how do you really know? Like, let's for me, I like to use cigars because I still haven't figured out tobacco. Um,
What do you
I
mean?
really think like so in our world right now, um, like smoking cigarettes or cigars or tobacco in general. Like I've noticed that in a sense, that is probably not the best choice for your body.
Mm.
However, I think we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I think that tobacco in itself, maybe without all the nasty ingredients, you know, is going to be a very sacred object for us. I like the fact that it's a drying mechanism. So it's going to be very earthy, very opposite of water. Smoke in general is going to be right there as the dry, as the opposite of water.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's something of a cosmic male nature, the cosmic father. You know, if you look at Mars as the smoky god, you know, the knight in shining armor, you know, that could be, and, you know, what do they do? Everything's inverted, so they put Ma on it, right? And and everything gets flipped. So if you're looking at a, one of the wandering stars or the planets and they tell you it's a positive or a negative force, that's from our perspective. It's also got a negative and a positive force going the opposite way. I mean, you're only seeing the path flow. So to think that something is just this or just that, just positive or negative is it's pretty silly.
Yeah.
To even be an object out there like that, you'd have to have both. You'd have to have polarity to be in duality. it would be required. So there would have to be a negative for every positive and a positive for every negative, or you wouldn't see it.
Mm,
So
interesting.
yeah, man.
You know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
way I see it though is like, and this is from a drawing perspective because in math, I guess you could say, but math is they say a line is an infinite series of points. It's like, okay, if that's the case, then one isn't a line. One is literally the idea of a node or a meme, like the original intention of meme, which is just smallest unit of potential or concept, so to speak. In which case,
Correct.
then anything beyond one, beyond that nodal point, beyond that one point, I mean, because it's literally like, that's all you can
So
say
Todd,
is,
take this. Take this though. That one right there is the point moving,
right,
right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this is
Yeah.
why too you were saying like a lot of people are stuck in duality. I'll tell you this because it's easy to get stuck in the Trinity idea too, where you're
Oh,
like,
good
"Oh,
call.
everything has to have this Trinity," but like this is why I say like anything beyond one, beyond the concept of one, which even then it's just like, well, and then zero, and then it's like, so one is everything, and it doesn't matter how
Right.
you try to
It
slice it,
is.
and you can get stuck
And
in the,
really, it's all about the point because
yeah,
one
what's
is
the
made up
point?
of the point moving,
Yep.
right? And so and one is a particular type of movement, and this is exactly why the symbol for the ascendant is a dot with a line going out to your visible left, which is the if on a mirror, it's right. So that's why cast your net to the right, ascend, all that is the way it is right there. And that's why in something like the Bach saga, they start with the letter or the sound double E, which is the symbol lowercase I.
Mm,
And that symbol lowercase I, when you have it horizontally in the wave, it makes that ascension right there, it makes that dot at the center of the wheel, and then the dot starts moving, right, in a straight line, nonetheless, first. So that's why we're birthed from the Father, from the sky, right there. And then right there, it goes out to the ascendant position and it hits the circle where it starts to make the two, which you see is the curves. We start to go from the straight line. First, you went from not moving at all, stillness, to
yep.
movement to the right.
That's the word. Uh oh. Oh no. Think it's our standard Barry disconnecting. See how long it takes for him to get back. Alright, I'm gonna take a look at the comments. I'm gonna read some of these comments, see what you guys are talking about while we wait for Barry to finish ranting to himself. The Othala rune should be clearly displayed top center on chestahedron. You're either missing a line or lines in wrong place. Yeah, you might be right, man. That's from 2018. I tried to draw, so the version I had at the time, and like I said, this is 3 years ago now. Had the three versions, and I just tried to draw them. Keep in mind, I draw a lot, so like sometimes I'm not like, I don't draw 100% specific. I was trying to capture, because the video I had watched was about the different levels of the shape, the chestahedron. And so I was sort of taking notes and drawing it in the different layers that he was describing. So yeah, you might be right. I might be missing. Well, I think if you're talking about the top line, which would be like the pillar of, which is interesting too. The more I look at this shape, it totally is just the tree of life Kabbalah. So it's the exact same shape. In which case, that center line, the top line, the interior line, I think you may be talking about. That would just be the whatever the top two planets or whatever are in the tree of life. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Matter lives. Yeah, yeah. Uh, well, I appreciate that. Anyone can be an artist, though. I mean, 99% of drawing and any of that is just muscle memory and hand-eye coordination. So, this is why I teach drawing courses, and I'm never, when people say they can't draw, I can prove them wrong easily. It's not for everyone. Chances are, too, your creative expression is channeled into another thing. I mean, I obviously don't know you very well, but from what Barry said, you sound extremely knowledgeable on alchemy and metalworking, and that's your art, man. Everyone's an artist. Scott Pryor and I talk about plant medicine, tobacco being one of the plants we discuss. It's the self guilt that is detrimental to one's chi. Yeah, Meyer, I can yeah, I feel you there, especially with self guilt. That's what we're trying to really hammer against is the warlocks and the pirates and somewhat of the necromancers abuse of language in our culture. Anything taboo makes you feel guilt, and you see it in the older generation especially. So I'll be honest, I don't really like. I smoked cigarettes briefly in college. The first time I had a huge actual hit of a cigarette, like knocked me on my ass, and I was like head dizzy. I was like, I don't think this is for me. I don't need that focus. Like, if I want to focus on something, all I got to do is like be into it, and I can focus very easily. That being said, I smoke hella weed. Um, way different effect, I think. But I wonder about the chemicals in that shit because I know a lot of people that do smoke cigarettes, and man, I tell you what, I don't know how they do it. I mean, I can smoke maybe 2 J's a day, but my throat really isn't strong enough to like smoke like fucking like a whole pack of cigarettes. Like that blows my mind that people can do that. Uh, and I don't know how they could even taste food. That seems crazy to me. Um, Strengths are weaknesses. Yeah, I feel that. Division, inversion. I need to think about that word sequence. Do you mean like culturally it's like pressed upon us to invert ourselves, or the culture is creating the immersion for us to divide ourselves? Yeah, that took place last year, man. We're still fighting. Right, they lost, so don't ever get it twisted if you think like they won. I can tell you they lost. Yeah, cymatics are fucking cool. I'll put some cymatics up on the screen. That's people should know about cymatics. If you haven't heard about cymatics, uh, tell you what I've been trying. If I had all the time and money to do, man, I would do some more creative programming to find a way to artificially generate, or not artificially, but you could make a digital version of cymatics. Let me switch to our browser here. There's a great. I wonder if I can find it. I think it's right here. Yeah, this is great. I like this a lot. This you can see. I'm not musically inclined yet. I'm still very very novice level music. I don't understand all this syntax yet, but just when I see this now, I should mention like I've had instances. And it's like when I do psychedelics, I can see a lot of energy. I can see all the other fields essentially that are merged into this one. But like, I think when this is why I say I think psychedelics are literally the fastest answer we have to speeding up, fixing everything here. But when you start training yourself to see this stuff, like I now can sometimes literally see sound waves in the air, and they look like this stuff, and it's super trippy, beautiful though. I mean, uh, but when I look at this, I'm like, if I had a much better understanding of music, I think I could really use this to I don't know, maybe build some new worlds. I don't know. I mean, in my mind, I already build all the worlds, so yeah, super cool stuff. Definitely look up cymatic videos. There's a great one. It's this guy, uh, Nigel Stanford. Yep, watch that video. It's he basically builds like Tesla stuff and has like a fire keyboard and like I think this is a Tesla coil. I might be wrong. I don't know. Personally, don't invest a lot of faith in Tesla as a person anymore, but one to Trinity, yeah, man. Yeah, it's weird. It took me a long time to really I don't know, come to grips with that because I don't like anything that says that you have to do it this way or that way. I don't like any of that stuff. Yeah, absolutely, psychedelics are sweet, are awesome. And the cool thing about the best thing I think about psychedelics is it's just stuff you already have. You already have all that stuff in your head. You already can do it. So once we get rid of all the cultural bullshit, we'll be able to really speed up the revitalization of this place. Yeah, Josh, I'm sure someone has that somewhere. I'll tell you what though, Josh, when anyone says planet, the word, literally the word planet, I just like I hate that word. It's too corrupt. We don't live in a planet. We don't live on a wet marble. It's literally nuts. Nuts to think that. Yeah, Tesla was a planet. Yeah, I think so. I feel like Tesla had good intentions though. Probably Einstein as well, right? But you know, when you get in the big money game and like people are willing to kill you because of well money and helping too many people break free of the bullshit, uh, which is interesting to be in this time right now, especially like you know energy and vibes wise, right? Like the fact that we can say the fact that so much astrology and so many knowledgeable astrologies and alchemy and you know high level philosophy is pretty easy to find, and you know not being taken down. It's interesting. I'm gonna be honest though. I personally think psychedelics are a little bit better of an answer than the astrology, but uh, let me see if like I maybe got messed up in like berries. No. Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear us? You got dropped out. I'm gonna kick him off. Anyway, yeah. So plain T. Yeah, plan. You know what? There's a great word. It's called planate. I think that's what they actually mean when they're talking about that because it's always about saying the truth without saying the truth. Uh, yeah, I forget if I have another version, but yeah, planate, literally having a plane or a flat surface. Not now. Don't get it twisted. I ain't saying the Earth is flat or anything. I don't believe in that shit. Like it's everything's light, so you need to think about waves, light, and then realize like chances of us living in a giant crater are probably pretty good. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't know much about Walt. I have a Walter Russell book, but I don't know. I know that 3D cube spiral image I like that a lot. I thought that was really cool. But I didn't dig too much deeper. Kind of moved on.
Hey Todd, how long was I gone?
Hey, dude. I don't know. I've just been talking with our chat, but
Oh, cool,
you're
man.
good, man. you
Yeah,
you have a long rant.
yeah, it was really long, man. But that's wasn't meant to be heard, I suppose. Let me
I
see
need a
here.
cue. You have to. I'll get your number and I'll text you. That way we can speed up
There
your
you go.
recovery.
There you go, right? It was 11:11. I was just looking down. I was
Ooh,
like, "Oh shit, it booted me out." Because it had me in there, and I saw my little green thing flipping on and off like it was picking up voice. So, and then I
yeah.
looked down and I was out. So it is what it is. Let me see here. So, trying to think where we left off.
We've been
Yep.
talking
I
about
don't know.
well, right now we're kind of talking about the word planet versus planate, which is PLANAT, which is just a plane or a flat surface. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying
Right.
how
I
I
like
hate
that.
the word planet because when I hear people
I
talk
know.
and they say very convincingly that they live on a planet, I'm just like, like you're an
Right.
idiot.
Right.
But it's
Yep.
cool. It's cool.
It's
We're still getting there.
And if you look at it, I mean, it's all in the word and the sounds. Planet. What do you when you go to plan something? I
Yeah.
mean, you're gonna and what are we planning? It. I
Yeah.
mean, or even et. Et means the, right? I mean, like in I think in French, et is the, um, which would be a connection back to the thought and the thought, and that's really where my rant was going, is learning how to control your thoughts. Um,
Oh man.
I
Well,
want
you're gonna have to summarize it then, because that sounds awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So a big goal or aspect of this system that we are trying to tackle is to learn how to control our thoughts and think of how powerful it would be to be able to have complete control over any thought you have inside your head. Somebody could come up to you, they could show you all these images of lustful behavior, and you would not get a single lustful thought in your head. So you could have, like, I went into a starving person, just wanting some food. Somebody comes up, shows them all this unhealthy food that they know would poison them and be sick, but it just tastes so good. Not letting any thoughts come in their head, right? Like, so how crazy would that be to have full control over the thought kingdom? And really, that's what you're doing when you plan it, because each thought is a creation. I mean, that's what art is, right? You're gonna put expression on this unseen thing. You're gonna give it color. So we're learning here how to gain control over the thoughts, because if you're gonna leave here, which is the eighth year, where you're supposed to listen to the word, right? That intuitive, that inner voice, the unseen word. Even the spoken word is a fallacy, right? Everything that comes out of my mouth is just a degradation of uh, the
Yeah.
stuff I reach for. It's
Yeah.
not even close, man.
Lower
I mean,
dimensional
it's
objects.
right, right. I work with the tools that I have. I help in the best way that I can, but I'm just grasping at straws literally still. I mean, I'm just trying to let it pour through, and it's sometimes it barely does it justice, and most of the time it's just helping to spur off things internally in other people, and they can do their own work, because that's the only way to see it, is through your own being, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, the thought kingdom, I mean, you don't want to have creators leaving this system that aren't responsible with their thoughts, right? I mean, because once you accept a thought and you're thinking about it and you're putting, you're coloring it, and it's causing real things to happen. And
Yeah.
real worlds are coming into form, and there's the things that you're light. I mean, we're light. We are light. So, and your thoughts are light. So, just as real as all of this is, you're a powerful creator, and you're causing things to happen. So, I mean, to have control over the thought world is a very necessary thing if you're going to be lack and go into the black and lack a bee, because the bee protects it. It gives it some dampening time, right? It's the the present, where it's before you send it out. So I mean, you got to be careful with what you let out of the box. You really, really do. And It's that pyramid opening and showing that chestahedron and that beautiful freaking cosmic spiritual fire, right? The unseen fire, which could be this could go back to the Prometheus story. It very much could take Prometheus could have taken that fire, stuffed it in the pyramid, and that's how we got the tetrahedron visible fire, the loop.
Mm,
Because it fits perfectly. When you open that pyramid, it shows you that it fits in that box in there. Because he even does on some of his videos, he takes that shape and he puts it inside, wraps it inside out,
mm,
and it makes the cosmic air molecule, the isohedron, and he showed how that shape fits around the isohedron. So every air molecule that you breathe in has around it a cosmic spiritual, like the whatever. So this shape, it makes all so the platonic forms are the lower nature of this one shape. So this one shape, it can stack down into each of the platonic solids, the cube. We've got the tetrahedron, the isohedron, and then the one with the D there. I don't know. The circle, is that? I guess that's not a solid, right? So
I
that's a
don't know.
2D
Yeah.
thing. That sphere would be I guess the fucking the platonic object there, but I don't think that the sphere is a platonic object. So,
Do you
and I
ever
think
read
platonic means
Flatland?
male. Like those are all the male crystalline forms. So and then the woman, she gets the sphere, right? She gets probably the Christ doll. And the light itself, is that white is the male. The black is that woman, is the femme. She keeps the light inside, which is, where does humans come from? Inside of a woman. And so, I mean, this black system is pretty much, it's showing you that's her, and then the white moon, the white ether, that's him expressing from. And then this system right here is then again her absorbing him, and then you're trying to not let the gross body of her distract you from the message of him, and which is that
Yeah.
mono moon system, which is really the planet, one plan, universe, one song, right? If you add a verse, it's an adversary. So, I mean, you can see that when you add a verse to the air, you're doing the human song, the lower natured song. But if you're singing that universe, you and I, when you recognize that you and I are the same thing, we're universe. We've got one verse. We sing the same song. And it's just like, all the religious stuff. It doesn't matter, what we want to fancy words we want to put on it all. The your God that made the dirt is the same. We both have the same maker of dirt, air, and all this stuff. I mean, why can't we just say that? Why do we gotta like flavor it in all our different cultures and argue and divide? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a little silly. We should be celebrating the differences in terms of what the culture is expressing, not using the differences of culture to divide even further. I mean, it's retarded. I mean, it really is.
I feel like it's sort of a return to intuition, though, right? Or an intuitive lifestyle, or an intuitive way of just being, which we
I think
probably
it is.
had, right? And now we're getting there, and we have, thank God for the internet, right? So we're like able to actually connect with other intuitive beings.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's right, Todd. I mean, and it could be we could be in a time sink where we could really be in Aquarius, which would put us in fixed air. And if you think about fixed air, that's intuition, that's feeling, that's consciousness. That's the first part that the Earth did. Ancient Saturn as Earth all of a sudden has, well, here, let me back that up. Aquarius, as ancient consciousness, has Earth, right? Or Earth has consciousness, or they're one and the two and the one, right? So there's this Earth entity that has consciousness that doesn't have fire and water, which is the left and the right, okay? The red and the blue. And you need fire first, which is why we've got the infrared system, and it starts there. Um, that's what that
well,
is. That fucking chestahedron is the infrared. Okay. Anyways,
oh, I know what I was going to tell you too, but you got dropped off.
go go ahead.
So because we were talking about the chestahedron on the chat, and I was looking at it a whole bunch, and to me, it looks it's the tree of life. It's the Kabbalah. It's the exact
Oh, it
layout
is.
of the tree of life, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, good
Especially
call.
metaphysically speaking, because um, someone mentioned that I might be missing a line, and I was explaining this is 2018, but I was explaining that I was drawing different aspects of the video I watched because it explained different layers of the image. But that
Yep.
line that he's talking about that I may be missing would be Da'ath, which is the invisible Sephiroth. So I don't
It is,
know.
and that's what fits in the cube. When you take that shape and you fit it in the cube, the only it casts it fits upside down, so it takes that shape and it puts it like a crystal in the ground, and then on the face of the crystal, it's sticking up in the cube, and it has a red line from the center going up to the vertex or the corner of the cube. And I think that might be. I think I've seen that line. I was talking with Josh this week. It was August of 2019. I was looking at something. Oh, there was weird elephant trunk clouds in the sky, and I see them here all the time, and I just love taking pictures of them. And then also the thunderbolts, like the Jupiter's thunderbolt or the German SS, those two, that shape right there, I see those coming out of the clouds in the clouds here all the time.
Wow.
And they're not, I shouldn't say all the time, different times of the year, I see the different shapes. So I went to take a picture of them on this day. And the second that my phone camera went above the horizon, it was just a whiteout sky. Like you couldn't see anything on the phone. It was just it was picking up too much light. But
Yeah.
I mean, any other day I could take a picture of the blue sky, but not on this day. And there was this on my camera, it picked up this black pole to the northeast of me, and it was going at a slight angle, so it wasn't straight up and down, it was at a slight angle heading towards the northeast. The slant would have been a northeast position, and it was like see-through, like, and I think this might be a direct infrared line coming in, tapping into our
Oh
system. I
man.
live in Crestwood, Kentucky, and this is right where you have a northeast mound system going right across the U.S., and then it goes right into the T of the Appalachian. So it tees off right there. And if you keep following this line, it would hit the Stonehenge area up in England. It goes right up to the northeast right there. So there's some kind of crystal lattice work that gets built off this infrared spike line that's coming in right here. I think it's somewhere around here because I don't
Take
know. I'm
a
gonna look
take
this
a look at
August
the
again and
picture I
see if I see
posted.
it. Okay, let me check it out.
So this is from a couple weeks ago. Uh,
Oh wow,
that actually was in the sky.
that's a line going through it.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, and you can almost see a bigger, fatter line behind it, like a big fat one. The whole width of that white sun, you can see it going down at an angle. It's
Yeah.
really neat.
I don't know if it's
That's not.
I have a theory on how what that would be, but that if that's the
It
case, that's like
almost looks like a
huge.
chemtrail. It looks like broken
Yeah,
up in the
yeah,
middle, like
it
it's
could
some
be a
kind of gas.
chemtrail. Yeah, it could be. I just
Yeah.
wonder because
Um.
I've seen rainbows before that literally inside the rainbow is a different cloudscape. So,
Yeah.
um,
And on those chemtrails, you can see a lot of times when the sun's at certain angles, it causes a shadow, and you can see this black
mm,
line. So that's how
yeah.
you know that they're dumping some kind of metals up there. It's blocking the light, causing a shadow. Whatever that is some thick physical particles, because you can see the black lines under them sometimes at different angles of the sun. Yeah. That's nuts. But yeah, let me try to get back to where we were. Let me see here.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that freaking. What were you originally talking about there?
Um, we talked
I think
about a few things.
the chestahedron, but what was right before that? I don't know. I probably don't
Ragnarok?
know.
Ragnarok?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, we can get back to that. That was fun.
well, so
Um,
check this out. Shoot, hold on one second. Was it Mayor Ziffy? Zi-Fi? Mayor Xiaofi, do you know him or her?
No,
Okay, well,
no.
they're following us. They said they wanted to name their son Loki.
Awesome. There you go. Hey man, you need a key to get on the low. I mean, it's and then think of low key too, just chilling, kind of, being nice and silent as the observer, low key, not causing a huge scene. I mean, that's
That's me, man.
the
That's
observer.
me to a T.
Yep. Yep.
I might be
And
Loki.
then Loki, I mean, it's very much that Mercury, this whole system, I mean, that duality of Mercury back and forth across the sun right there. I mean, it's showing you the forms coming in um, pretty much from Vulcan. I mean, because Vulcan would be inside of Mercury, that would be the crystal ball, that, and because if you think of the sun, when the sun goes across the ecliptic or the equator, it goes about 17 degrees. So it's got a 34-degree band. So this shows you something huge about the crystal that it's sitting in. If you took a crystal ball outside and you put it on the grass and you had a bigger one, you could see inside that as the sun goes along its path, it keeps it in a certain bandwidth. That's the sine
Right.
wave right there,
Yeah.
right? So it's showing you
The
that
Annabella,
um,
right?
right. So Vulcan is a 19-day cycle. It's the fastest. It's even quicker than the moon around the zodiac. So this crystal ball that we're all sitting in as light is the original turn, okay? It's the first turn before Saturn, okay? Saturn is the first visible turn. The other turn is going to be this crystal ball that's fucking, it's just rotating and it's collecting light, and it's Medusa's eye. When you looked into this crystal ball as some kind of spiritual entity out there, you first saw it as a black hole. And being a master of black holes, you just wanted to go check this one out. But there was a pearl in this ocean. And when you were going into the black hole, you found this beautiful crystal object that you just kept going towards. And before you know it, you were breaking down into a tunnel of light. So your particleness and your beingness became a visible wave, and you noticed you were becoming a visible wave, and then the visible wave turned into a spiral, and then the spiral turned into a particle, and then before you know it, you came out on this side, and that's literally how we got here. I remember going down my tunnel of light. I mean,
Really?
the first, yep, right before
Wow.
I came here, it was, I remember Matrix style. I was on some like ship thing. It was
Whoa.
really weird. I got set in some kind of chamber in some kind of thing where there was another person like in there on the controls, and then
That's probably you.
we had some kind of unspoken language. It could have been another version of me, and I was telling this thing that I'm ready and I'm excited and let's do this, and then I shut the clasp, and then I don't remember much at that point. Then the next part was I was in this tunnel of colors in this like Birkeland spiral going down. And it was just these beautiful, beautiful colors of, like, I was inside of a tube almost of color. That's where my vision was from, like what I was seeing. And then, I first memory here was I was about 2 or 3, and I was sitting on a one of those ferries where you park your car on the boat and it brings you somewhere.
Huh.
And my parents were talking, and I was sitting over the railing with my feet, or on the bottom with my feet hanging over the edge of the boat. I had a bag of popcorn, and I was throwing the popcorn up to the birds, the seagulls that were coming, and it was a very powerful thing in my life, and it was my very first memory. But yeah,
Wow.
man, that's how we get here. That's how your sine wave
I
becomes a
don't know.
particle.
I don't. Well, I don't know if you've seen. There's a show on Netflix called Midnight Gospel. It's an animated show, and so like basically sticks his head inside of a giant computer vagina, and then it shoots his being into another world. And there's one episode where he's like gonna go to this like basically a hedonistic like you can have sex with everyone, everyone's partying, you can have sex with the
Yeah,
dolphins, and then on
yeah.
the way he ends up like hitting an asteroid and veering off into like some like kind of fantasy hell world. And
Oh my gosh, that
I was
sounds
like,
awesome.
I feel like that's probably what happened with me because I don't remember her, like the only visions I've had of like past lives or anything in this place is
Uh-huh.
like everything's purple, like it's a purple sky, and like there's giant mushrooms, and like everyone worships these mushrooms, and like the more I
Wow,
think
that's
about Crater
awesome.
Earth, I'm like, oh, I can see that. That was probably a really, or either that, or it's just either a long time ago, or that was just like, that's just somewhere else,
Right.
and
I've always loved the theory that we're under a giant mushroom, and all the things that we call starlight coming through are just different angles of the one light that's the same coming through the different colored spores of the mushroom.
yeah, I feel like we're
And
definitely like, there's like, it just seems like there's so much about mushrooms. Like when you learn about the mycelium, the stuff that grows in the ground, like
right,
we have that. That's our nervous system. So like, and
right,
you look at the penis and the breast. Honestly, there's mushrooms that mimic that 100%. I mean that's the
yeah,
basic shape of the one, right? It's like
it
we have
is.
so much in common with mushrooms, and like then you look at Terence McKenna's like ape theory, where like he's basically says we ate a whole bunch of mushrooms, got super high and like have degressed, I guess you could say, culturally and
Right,
mentally, but like because we don't ritualize them, we don't use these things, and
right. We
like
took the meaning, we took the spiritual purpose and intent out.
yeah, we just kind of like pieced out. But
Right.
we're fixing it. It's cool. It's cool.
We're getting
But
back. We're getting back. Absolutely.
yeah, man.
Yeah, man, that's a it reminds me of
Yeah,
of
your
like the
avatar.
well, yeah, that yeah, that
Sorry,
too.
someone,
Um
Joshua White said, pick your avatar.
yeah, that's the avatar that picture right there is it's showing you magnetic brows or the horns. And this is your so if you think of yourself as a particle and you've got this left and this right, you're the center pole. And like it's like the number 8 on its side, and you're right in between it, and you're the dictator. You're pretty much the leader of these two bubbles you've got, and your left and right hand are literally the eyes of each bubble. And you're joining these two spheres, and then when these two spheres combine on your pole, and you make that vesica Pisces by overlapping them, it creates that magnetic brow right there. And
No
I
way.
really think that that's your intuitive connection to the membrane, right? So
Let me
to
show you
the
some
your
art. Hold on.
okay.
Dude, I'll post this. You got to see this though. This is like it sounds exactly like what you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, these are the true horns in my opinion. So and I think that if you're a being and you're going to keep operating like that, if you're going to keep pulling in the waves and you're going to keep manifesting there, you're actually going to grow fucking horns. Like, and not a joke. I really think I got told this week that um, there's no such thing as a third set of teeth, only your first set of horns.
Mm,
And I really think that that's true. I really think that the story of Pan, and a lot of images of Pan, you see where they've cut the horns off. So it shows you what they've done to Pan and turned it into Baphomet.
yeah,
And a true Pan is an expression of the true masculine and the feminine in one. So you're
yeah,
going to have both in one. And that's all the outer bones of the man are going to be of anybody are going to be your masculine cosmic connection. They separate things. So if you didn't have that ether right there, that out exterior bone, everything would clump together into one mass from the sulfur system, because the sulfur is the interior sticky shit, and that's what everything clings to. So you've pretty much got that ether, which the more and more I'm looking at it, I mean, I'm going to be probably right back thinking it's the woman. I mean, I'm sure each thing has a male and female aspect to it, but that ether is how the external bones get built. I think the health of your teeth which are your fuse boxes sitting on your organ systems for, like, if you had a bad tooth, I mean, we've already gone through that. You might want to check the organ that's associated on that circuit pathway, because chances are your tooth is trying to show you something about an internal problem going on. That's your circuit being overloaded, hence frying your tooth out. They give us a neat little story that all this sugars and food we eat cause cavities. Well, that might be true while coating your, mouth with the biggest drug in the world, sugar. Yeah, it
Right.
could cause some damage, but also the real culprit in teeth issues is an internal issue. It's an internal unseen thing. It's a consciousness thing. It's an intention thing. It's how you see the world and the health of your teeth. I mean, some people, you have shit happen. I mean, you get hit with a softball in I mean, things happen to teeth where the universe is stepping in, but there's a lot of things on your teeth that you're operating your organs not the way you probably should be operating them, and then it's causing teeth issues to pop up. So it's a beautiful system to really show you, hey, you might want to check this area inside. It's the kidney. The kidney does this and this. Have you been abusing this system? Well, it's causing this kind of damage to show up. So it shows you that the ether, if you listen to that inner voice instead of going against it, it can help you. It can rebuild teeth, right? You can fucking grow horns. That fixed air, the intuition. I mean, your nails turn into fucking claws. I mean, these are not, and they've turned all these things into scary objects, like, oh, big scary claws, and ooh, big scary horns, and oh, these are all killers. And no, 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 no. These are things pulling in massive amounts of ether, this massive amount of intuitive membrane connection. I mean, intuition has three eyes in it. I mean, it's right there. And to connect it to this system, you need to use intention, your two eye. I mean, and that will access the five eye or the quintessence. I mean, you've got the intuition should validate your intention and cause your intention. I mean, it's really the only voice that has any authority over anything. And I mean, because everything coming even externally to you is going to be just the intuition of other things coming to you from the outside. So this whole thing is all connected internally. And we just slap the outside up against the outside and get real confused. And we want to look at the outside and try to, I mean, we have to understand that this whole thing is the inside. I mean, it's your inside of something. I mean, if you can see black, it's showing you that the black means the light is contained within, probably in matter in the center. Probably, I mean, and that's probably why Black Lives Matter, right? Because black
Yeah.
is holding all the light inside. And what do you do with all that light? It causes a particle or a metal or a metallic center where everything meets metal. And then once you have that, you have the cosmic fire reflecting off the metal. So you've made a mirror inside. Well, you've essentially made a mirror is what you've done right there by that black move. And then it's the pearl in the sea. It really is. And it's why, if anybody's seen Ready Player One, what does that movie show you, right? It's all about finding the crystal clear egg in the middle of the dark cave. It's not about winning the game. It's not about winning. It's just not what it's about. It's about that curious drive, about that, you just happen to be strolling down the brook one day and you look under this one rock and this whole world of information just unfolds in front of you that's been waiting for you. And you just needed this one little instance to kick it off. And that's what this system's about. That's the real hidden gem of all of this is that curiosity. Yeah, it killed the cat, but the person, the person, yep. I mean, it's all pretty much, I mean, if you're going to play with the Mooney, out of Ma's purse, which is the Mars moon system we've got going on here, right back to the Smoky God, it's just wrapping in and out. And you need the moon energy, you need the mirror here. You have to. If you want to do work and help the image, you've got to be in the image. Like you've got to go, you can't, it's, if you were in the true center, you wouldn't be seen, right? So you'd be invisible. um it would be hard to do work. You literally have to step out a little bit into duality, but it's like a contest. It's like a game of chicken almost. Like, how much can I like least step out where things can see me? I mean, think of the things we've all done for this system just to get a message across. Like, even me right now, if this October would be 3 years, no drinking, not even a sip. And, but, but thanks, man. And but if I had a situation come up where having a couple beers or some drinks would, help get something across that maybe somebody needed, I would do it in a heartbeat. Absolutely. I mean, for me to like, I don't, and that's where I've come to learn the grace of willpower. I've come to learn, like, it's never just no. It's never forever. Like, it's always transitional. You always have to be, a little bit have some kind of fluidic nature to you where you're open to change. And I mean, how else would you constantly be able to discover new things? And we're trying to know all the things here, new things, right? I mean, you want to know what's in the box before you let it out, so you really want to know what's in every box here, and then you know the box itself, and then you can just start to let out of the box what ought to be let out of the box, and then you can keep in what ought to be kept in. I mean, because you got to think everything's coming from inside. There's some things inside of us that we probably shouldn't let out. I mean, I'm a I mean, I've let so many things out of me into the sound waves that shouldn't have been put out there. I don't think they should have. They might have. They might have been needed, but I know that I've said some horrible things. Like, I've said some very attacking things on people's natures, and I've used my blessings and my tools to hurt people. Is, I guess, what I'm saying, and it's out there, But right, right, right. All right. I used to really let anything come out of the box and just speak my mind. And the more I go along, I'm trying to be just more reserved and more mindful of what comes out. I mean, it's a powerful system we're in. Like, I really used to think nobody ever listened, and I can see now, like, people I've talked to a few years ago, like, things that I've said are still in their lives, and I don't really think about it like that. So, I mean, the pebbles that you throw in people's ponds, they really do ripple. When people go to sleep at night, even though they might not have liked your post or put a heart on it, or hated it, or not liked it, that's going to make them think. It's going to make them think about, things that they need to face, skeletons in the closet that they need to look at. Because if you're going to go into the black, it's there can be a lot of stuff that's gotten out of the box that maybe shouldn't have gotten out of the box, that's going to have the ability to scare the fuck out of you if you're not ready. And it knows, it can see your skeletons. It's just going to mirror off them to create the scariest fucking thing, to be able to test you, to see if you're past that part. And if you're not ready for that part, the fear is going to trap you up, send you back inside. The black's going to consume you, and you're not going to be able to really come out of the box, right? You're still going to be in Pandora's box right there, and pan, door, ah. I mean, that's showing you right there. It's pan, right? There's a door, so it's going to show you're going to need that low key probably to open the door, and then it's a box or a cube. So we've got this, we're inside of a box somehow. But it's fire in a box, so you've got a tetrahedron in a box doing different things. And when you take fire and you put it in a block of ice, it makes this other cool circle thing, and you've got water. And really, it's the Star of David makes a circle, right? When you put the two interlacing triangles around, you've got the pretty much the hex system. You've got carbon, the carbon copy that occurs right there, the CC. So I mean, and what is it copying? Well, it's probably copying the perfect form, right? That perfect nature, and we're dropping down into the gross forms, which I don't really think it's the most horrible thing. I mean, you can really see some things that maybe you overlooked. I mean, perfectness, you don't have much choice there. You're just in perfection, right? There's no growth. I mean, you need positive and minus hitting you like a motherfucker to get some growth. You need that to crack your seed. I mean, if you think about springtime, the hot and cold coming in, you've got that pressure changes back and forth, and it causes the growth. It causes the seed to pop. Same thing with crystal growth. If you're going to grow that crystal, you've got to. It takes years and thousands of years to like rinse out these impurities of a crystal to get it crystal clear to put a new layer of crystalness on top of the last layer of crystal. I mean, that's pretty special. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've got some pretty thick opaque areas in there at this point. And now we're trying to buff the shit clean because we realize it's already there and we're trying to
I'm in a
fancy it
box.
up to make it not look as bad, but it's still opaque. It's
Oh,
still going to trap light and cause it to not let
well, this
all the
doesn't
light
make you
through.
dizzy.
So we've got to now regrow the crystal so we can get around the opaque spot so we can send light still through and the angles we want to send them through. So we need to outgrow our opaqueness. That opaqueness ends up becoming
Wow, this
a
is
tiny
definitely my
part of
vibe.
your dense center of your true
No.
cosmic particle that you're building. We're all building our true cosmic crystals. All of us are a universe, and every single one of these things in here, every being. I mean, if you're a human walking around listening to this, I don't know if we have any dogs or cats listening in today or anything like that, but
I'm in a
I mean,
box.
you've got a big role. You're a steward, you know?
Oh,
I mean, it's
well,
a
this
lot of
doesn't make you
responsibility
dizzy.
if you want to be in this paradigm, and it's tough
Well,
looking
this is
around
cool.
and seeing not a lot of the things with the opportunity of taking
Wait.
advantage of the opportunity because I mean
Wow,
this
this
is a
is
system where one
definitely
little
my vibe.
dandelion out in the field can
No.
teach you can just mounds of information. I mean, it's packed. Everything's jam packed in here. It's a living matrix program of light that is beautiful. Like it feels real. It's got everything going on in it, but it's all a giant test. It really, really, really is. This is all a place to sift and filter and to know each quality of light, to know the angles, to know the angels. Um, that you've got, and then that's why you've got the demons and the angels, or the angels and the archangels. The angels are straight. The archangels have an arc in them. So it shows you that they're visible. It's once again not a good or a bad thing. There's just two different worlds where you've got these straight crystalline lines, and then you get into the arc world where you start getting curves. Water goes around. So you're using fire at this point. You're using the lower fire, the fire of man, even animals, fire of animals, everything, the consciousness, the living fire is the first fire, and then the animal fire is that next actually causing the dot to move into the one system. So, I mean, we go from the black sulfuric inner bone center, the point that causes everything to stick to it, which is the circle around it with all the color with the arc. And then you've got the one, the number that goes out into the number system right there to the right. Cast your net to the right, cast it to the logos, right? Cast it to reason. But that's all being birthed from love. We've gone through that. All of logos, all of reason, this whole entire system, Loki, the whole thing, all of this beautiful reason, all of this beautiful action, all of the beautiful movements, because you can have poor movement and you can have divine, beautiful movement. And you get all of it here. You couldn't have one without the other either. You can't just have the beautiful movements and have them visible. Everything that's visible, that's beautiful, must have gone through and done its work, and it keeps its other side of its axis invisible, right? It's only expressing what ought to be visible. And it does this naturally through its intention, through its intuition. And if it's not listening, though, and it can cause, some different things to appear, right? So, light's a funny thing. You want to get into some cards, Todd? What do you think, bud?
Yeah.
All right.
Uh,
I'm gonna meander back inside. You start us off, and then I'll
well,
go get the Illuminati and some dice and a deck or something.
one sec. I don't know what you mean, Joshua Way. I don't know. Did I draw something, or are you talking?
What's
Uh,
Josh got?
I don't know. He says WTF just happened with a lot of laughing emojis. I must have messed something up. I probably messed something up. Hello.
Oh, did you send like something over the screen? I love it, Todd. You never know what you're gonna get with Todd. That's the best part. I mean, it's all
True.
beautiful expression coming out. I mean, it's
Thanks,
no
man.
even in that.
Yeah. Uh, well, you had a pretty good rant. I put up some. So there's a. I put up some matching images, and one of the parts you started talking about being inside a cube, and there's a game. It's called Decentraland. It's like a open world, like anything game. But there's a
Okay.
part where my character walks into a cube, and then you can switch to like just the camera view, so you're seeing like the guy, and like
Uh,
it's just it's a box I'm spinning around in. It's spinning around me, and it literally matches what you were saying. So I had that on
that's
the stream.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. The that made me think of that symbol in a box. The chestahedron guy found out when you add movement and you turn that symbol, it creates a bell.
Oh
And
wow.
it really creates the circus tent shape is how the true bell looks. And then that made me think of, I looked up some May pictures in medieval times. It shows them wrapping threads around a pole, making that same bell shape. So I think this is the time of year when the sound comes in. We get the new creation in
Mm,
our land in the
new
sound system.
vibes.
So the
Nice.
reptiles will be visiting, um,
That's
which
cool.
is good. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Hurry up.
But it makes the torso shape, the bell. It gives like the breast and the abdomen. All those shapes right there are made from that chestahedron. You put an axis down the center of it and you spin it, and it adds those straight lines now have curved lines when you add movement right there. So it shows you we're in that box in the cube and we're spinning, creating water, and the fire is causing it to spin pretty much. The fire is what causes all of the things to change. So if you're gonna change anything, you need fire. It's the ability to change is everything. If you're
Hey,
going to get air, water, earth, you pretty much would need fire. I mean, really, if you look at a cube as earth as platonic solid, you have a bunch of pretty much tetrahedrons pretty much somehow stacked up to make a cube. And you just have fire not expressing yet. All
hey,
right, I got all the
let me
divination stuff.
so I'm not gonna draw a card. I'm gonna share this card on the thing real quick. Do you know
Okay.
about Magic the Gathering?
Yeah, yeah, sure, man. I was just getting into it with my daughter
Oh,
last year.
awesome.
It was tough to, I was trying to find a way, like some videos to learn how to just get it like play,
Oh, I
because we
could
got
teach
enough
you.
cards, but yeah, we didn't ever get it going, but we love, yeah, what do you got?
All right, so
Oh, you got the counter target spell.
they made a new set. This is from the newest one. This is so a long time ago. I've been playing for a long time, and I always said this is the best card in the game. And now it used to be a common card, right? So it's very everyone has it. It was like standard kind of card, right? Now it's
Right.
upgraded to a rare because it's that strong, and it was even banned in a way. So, but this is the newest art, and I love it. It's like awesome art. But what I really and as far as I mean, I'd love to hear your intuition on this because it's always enjoyable. Basically, what this spell does is when you play a spell, it goes into a situation of because it says instant, so you can play this as soon as someone does a spell. And if
Right.
they don't have an answer to this spell, then, for instance, they too could counterspell your counterspell. However,
Right.
if they don't, your spell would lose and goes into your graveyard. Now, so
Okay.
great spell, really good card, one of my favorites, my favorite for sure. What I love about this is if you read the quotations. Oh, I don't even have it on stream. One sec.
One need not know the specific details of a spell to suppress its effects. Simply rearrange the rules of the reality within which the spell operates.
Isn't that awesome?
That's awesome, dude. That's so Vulcan right there. I mean, because the story of Vulcan, right? He gave Pluto his invisibility cloak, Jupiter's brass dog, and so on, and Earth woman, which is pretty neat. And so it's like this thing that takes the cosmic light and it gives everything form. Yeah, and you're really just gonna rearrange the rules real quick, right? Because if you're the one making the rules, yeah, man, making. That's an awesome card. And then look, it's got a for the image on that card too. It's got some pretty cool art. It looks like it's got let me see here. Is that the left hand? That is the left hand. And then it's got so that which would be awesome counter spell. So you've got spell on right and counter spell on left. And then it's showing you the left is where everything becomes visible in matter, the rock, the petrification, and then that's exactly what it looks like it's standing on. It's the pinnacle top of the rock, and there's a force like a halo around it showing you this is where the force is coming from. So it's pretty much the counter spell to the spell. It's the left of the right. So it's kind of like your hot potato, like you just throw it back and forth a little bit. And then what is in the center of it looks like you've got the four cardinal points on the hand right there, which is definitely the left and the snake that eats its tail and the visible world matter system of the Lu. So it's showing you've got an original spell, and then you put it down into the counter spell, which would be that dot moving, becoming the one. You're going to start counting and using numbers now, right? Um, so it's a pretty, and you can use it, and it's instant because as soon as you do the spell, you also have a counter spell that comes into effect. So for every spell, there is a counter spell, right? And so for every thought, there is a fucking a mattering system that's getting built. There's an anti thought, I guess is better there. Um,
Yeah, like counter space. Yeah.
yeah, for every space, there's a counter space. That's right. Yeah, it's a great card, Tom.
Yeah,
All right.
right?
I'm
Um,
going to pull, let's see, I'm just going to pull an Illuminati, a Rider Tarot, and I'm going to roll a red and blue die. Uh, I'm going to do red and blue die, and I'm going to do planets on both of them to see what's on the left and what's on the right. And then I'm just going to post an image with all the cards kind of I've chose, and we can talk about it. Let's see. All right.
sounds good.
So I still haven't been watching much news, or just reading through any news sources to see the mutual betrayal stuff. I do like what you said with it there earlier. I do feel like this is a big time where just the energy itself is canceling each other out, and you're sitting in a beautiful balance point, right there. If you think of Taurus being a mountain coming up out of the sea, fixed earth, it's always going to be land, which is an area that's always never going to get penetrated by water. It's always going to have dryness, and it sits opposite of water. So it's a very much a drying out right now. You're up high on the mountain, high altitude. I think we just went over the crest, and we're going to start coming down the mountain on the right side, east of the Tor, and because this is all very much sidereally too. So we're coming up. I think. Let me look sidereally. We are at 18 degrees Aries. So we're coming up on the last deacon of Aries, which is going to be that Sagittarius philosophical deacon. So next week's show should be pretty philosophical as well. The moon right now is sitting in 3 degrees Capricorn, so the moon is sitting in a pretty weak spot, and because you got to think opposite Cancer, it rules Cancer. So it's opposite house right there. It's just entered to 3 degrees. So your personality right now, it might not feel like things flow too well, in terms of the image that you're trying to create, but just stick with it. You can also, with the moon in Capricorn as well, you can pretty much also access the work of your personality. So all the hard work that you have put in, it's available as well. I mean, it's there for you to express um, the image in a way that's shown the hard work too. So that's available as well there. Let me see here. We've got, okay, I'm gonna pull a card on the Illumina. You still hear me okay, Todd? Oh, dude. Yeah. Can you hear me? I drop out. Let's see. Hey, Todd. Nope. I don't know if you're there or not. I don't know if anybody can hear me, but we're just gonna keep rolling here. So, the Illuminati card this week. We'll see what the week's got going there. And I got the Weird Turn Pro. So we're gonna talk about that one. That's a pretty awesome card. I guess I'll just take a picture in a second once I get it. Okay, we got the Three of Cups, and then I've got a red and a blue planet die. Todd, you still hear me okay?
Yeah.
No? Okay. I don't know if
Sound
I'm
good.
talking to the world or I'm not.
Yep.
Okay, you're good? Okay. All right, blue and red planet die. What do we got here? Okay. Wow. Moon and a sun on
Ooh.
moon on blue, sun on red, infrared. Let me take a
Ooh.
shot of this and then we'll get it up here.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, man. So we've got, here's our little spread. Let me get over here. Okay, so I guess I'll just start talking about how this all goes together here. And I always like to ask about what we got coming up, like this week type thing. So the Weird Turn Pro, let's start there. It should be up on the Delineation chat one, and then you can chuck it up there, Todd. But it says, when the going gets weird, the Weird Turn Pro. This card may be played at any time and counts as the action for the group it affects. The increased power takes effect immediately. The power for one weird group is increased to 4. Link this card to your chosen weird group. No player may have more than one Weird Turn Pro in play. So that's neat. That last part, nobody can have more than one weird person turn pro in play.
I like it.
So maybe somebody, so this is and it's got a picture of pretty much a neat hair operation going on, a very druid woman with odd hair, and she's looking beautiful by putting nature and stuff and sticks in her hair, dandelions, and then a guy with orange hair in the background, a weird punky scientist. I don't even know. I really don't know. But yeah, just a really weird guy putting all the stuff in her hair. So it's pretty awesome one. I mean, this is a good card for us on this show too. I mean, we're pretty damn weird, but I mean, this is all the quiet people that have been doing their work, that they've stuck with it. They didn't let some social norm pretty much tell them what they ought to do and shouldn't do. So you've been discovering all this beautiful knowledge too with all these different areas you've been looking at that aren't considered normal. So you're getting some rare things, you're adding rare angles into your collection of knowledge. And when you do this, you get rare insights. So you get some nice nuggets in there from playing with all these odd areas of experience. So, and when you turn pro, that could show you that I've always looked at this card. I remember looking at it a long time ago that, I remember thinking, man, that's what's going to happen here. Everybody that's been doing the real work, that's been, focused on nature, that card shows you right away. It's all about nature. Probably that, I don't want to say that hippie mentality, but it's like a scientist hippie in a way, like somebody who's taken that nature as that body of knowledge and they've been studying it hardcore, and they're going to get secrets unlocked, and things in your body could literally start to happen, like different mechanisms could come online for you. It's just really
Superpowers.
tough to tell. Yeah, literal superpowers, man. I mean, what a time to pull that. I mean, that would be great, Spirit World, if you want to all of a sudden start to just, help us out, little extra boost, just kind of kickstart us. I mean, that would be killer. Absolutely. I mean, I know we
Well,
got to do our own work, and we'll
yeah,
continue to
keep in
do it.
mind that requires action at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah, good call. Requires action. That is, and it's instant. It's an instant card as well. So,
Nice.
I mean, but you've got to do something, right? You've got to use your gifts. Maybe look at this in the picture. It's showing one weird person helping another, and maybe you've got to get out there and connect yourself with other oddballs, and
Yeah.
maybe they've got something you've been needing, you've got something they've been needing, and together you
Yeah.
guys can arrive at something that's pretty beautiful. And could make both of you pros. Both of you give each other what the other one was missing. All right, three of cups. We've got three people, white, red, and yellow, and then on in terms of the clothing, we've got them all lifting cups up high in the air in joy, and they are all holding each other's cup. Wait, hold on. Nope, they're all crossing over each other's
Yeah.
arm and holding it near the other person. So three is movement, and we see a lot of movement in this picture. We see dancing. You can see the feet moving. We also see them maybe going around in a circle. So a three is very much that that fire in a way, that bird that flying in the wind on its side. You just flip that around. It's flight. You've got Aries. March is the third month of the year when we get into the pretty much tropical. I guess on 320 we hit tropical Aries or so. I mean, really you only get a little bit of Aries there, but that March, it shows that initiation. Those first 10 days of the sign right there, March 20th is Mars. I mean, that's Mars, the spark, right? You've got to have a spark to light this sulfur gas. If you're downwind of the paper factory there and smoking a cigarette and freaking you light it and all of a sudden, boom, you cause an explosion. There goes the big bang. Everything's visible now. And that's Mars right there, the leader, the spark. You've got, and you notice the red, you've got, and then the white, that shows you right there in a way coming from Pisces. Coming from the pure waters, Mars is going to raise that up. We don't see black water anywhere. We see beautiful fruits. Definitely a harvest. Definitely a trinity. We were just talking about that. Even at the base of the cups, it looks like we've got kind of a pyramidal type base to them as well. And then the cup. Look at that picture right there, that center cup. It's showing you the straight pyramidal going up to the bell up top, the movement, the unseen bell of the air, the sound waves up there. So it's I mean, you've got multiple cups, right? You've got the cup that holds the water, you've got the cup that holds the air, you've got the cup that holds the earth, you've got the cup that holds the spirit, that which holds the soul. The cup is very much something that holds. The
What do you
cup is
think of
very much sulfur, right? I mean, inside that black is what holds it, makes it stick, too. So that black sulfuric center, that Capricorn, that I mean, it's the reason it's the top of the mountain is because the black sulfur pole goes all the way up, and as matter sticks to it, it can't stick the higher it goes. Only little parts can get there, and that sulfur stick is going to go all the way up. I mean, it's all the way to the tip of the mountain, and everything sticks to that. Literally, Mars's journey starts there as he's resurrected, and then you start climbing the mountain as the goat, and you go right up the mountain, right up to Cancer, right up to the Lu, right up to where everything is visible and seen, and then the light sparks and reflects off that mountain, and it's as soon as you raise all that mountain up and you build it, as soon as you get all that matter onto the sulfur, it brings in that Lu. So it brings in the visible nature of things. It brings in the field, and it creates a ceiling. It gives you a seal in, right? A seal inside. So that those big mountains out west that we have here, I'm sitting out east. Every time I go out there, I mean, I just thank them. Even our old Appalachian mountains. I mean, I thank them for holding stuff down, bringing in the sun every day. I mean, those are the first high areas that touch that sun. And look at, they're all reaching up high. So they're holding their cups up high. They're collecting that light from the Father. They know that's where we come from, right? We come from the sky down to earth. We fell. So, and then we ascend and raise back up. Raise is Ray says, right? When you raise something up, when something raises up, that's the ray says. That's a talking ray. That's a standing wave right there. All right, what do we got next? We got dice. Okay, we got blue moon, red sun. This tells me right here, infrared right, unseen father, blue visible left, blue luminescent female visible. So we've got the visible and the invisible. We've got the invisible on our right, which is all the old images you see in the 1800s, all the Masonic stuff. They're all burying their right hand in their jacket or behind their back, and it looks weird. Why do you look at all these pictures and they're hiding their right hand? Well, it's because all these images are showing you, even the pictures of people in the streets and they're hiding their right hand. That's showing you what club they're in. They're in the unseen father club. They're in the right hand of God, right? The right hand is that invisible hand of justice that's silently lurking, karma that's coming to collect its debt, the reaper from all the work that's been sown. So it's pretty much that unseen father, the infrared sun. And that very much I like that as Mars, as the smoky god says, as Mars orbits around and goes potentially inside of us and becomes a smoky god in there, and then comes back outside. I mean, this Mars is a very powerful part of this system. I mean, it's all of our iron. If you think about stepping down to the silver, it's almost as it steps down, it's refining. Or is it going up? Is it ascending? Is that what it's doing? Is the iron ascending into silver? I mean, it's pretty neat shit, man. Um,
For sure.
so yeah, I mean, we've got some good dice, the left and the right. So, I mean, you've got right now the infrared unseen father on your right, in your right hand, and then you've got what's visible in your left. So, uh, use this in your life. Right and left, everything has a right and a left. I mean, that's the meridian, right? The meridian. That's where when you marry the D, you're marrying through. That's noon. That's the new day, and then it marries the other side, which would be midnight. The center of the night and the center of the day. Sometimes it's not bad to be a sinner. That's not. I mean, remember, they everything is flip flopped. So the devil, Satan, Lucifer, a sinner. These are probably all beautiful sounds and excellent things to fill your mind with. It's probably going to be, everything. It's just so opposite. I mean, that's why you need to constantly flip it back and forth across the left and the right. Look at it here, look at it there. See its nature from both sides. I mean, don't get trapped in thinking you're just going to look at it on the left or the right. I mean, and only look at one face of the moon. I mean, don't get trapped in looking at the one side. Just stay in the middle, and when you're in the middle like that, you don't get to keep a lot of shit. I mean, because you end up seeing that the left is the right and the right is the left, and like that card says, the counterspell. I mean, you pretty much can manipulate the rules from the center right there to really see anything you'd like. I mean, so that's all there is in the end is going to be that center. I mean, there's no time out there that doesn't have a center. All time is viewed from some center somewhere. They want to run us off the visible sun Lu time. That's why we go by tropical astrology. They got the whole world hooked on that crack. They want you to think that the sun is the center. They really just want to go on that heliocentric calendar, Gregorian, that whole entire calendar says they want you on that. They don't want you having something else as your center. God forbid you put the earth or the heart as your center. Ooh, we wouldn't want compassionate action, a heartful mind full of compassionate thoughts, compassionate actions, compassionate feelings instead of lustful feelings. I mean, That's why they try to keep us up in that sun in the mind, because it's this tiny electromagnetic field, and it's living in the bubble of the heart field. The heart is thousands, it's fucking huge. It's way bigger than the brain field right there. So, I mean, that's why love births the logos and reason. That mind, logos, reason bubble sits inside of the love bubble. I mean, this was all a gift given to us in love. This was not a necessity of logic. So just be careful when you go to look at where your center is, or where you're asking your question from, because I'm not saying that the sun, or I guess Lu as the center, in tropical astrology, has no purpose. It very much does. You very much can see what something is, but it's not going to tell you a lot. You can take a fork and you can know what it is, but how do you know what it's doing? Like, that's going to define who it is, what kind of fork it is. Like, is it the fork that stabs somebody in the back? Is it the kind that eats food? Is it the kind that gets melted down so you can use the metal to make something different? I mean, it's a fork, right? I mean, it's a placeholder. It's just a placeholder. So everything's a placeholder. You're the rule maker. You're the one sitting in the middle, being the analyst, being that judge, determining what's left and right, what's right and left, what's north and south, south and north. And you're just sitting there. You already died on the cross. The reason you died on the cross, where all the shit crosses, is because that's pretty much all the visible stuff. I mean, and you just left it there, and you're off in some beautiful cosmic reality that has the cross within it, that has the visible cross within itself, and you can see it from all angles now. And it's really, once you're in those kind of moments, you're just there to adore it. I mean, and to be a steward of it and to protect it. Um, yeah, man.
Nice.
What are we at? 12, 18. Yeah. It Gatsu 8, guys, is the 12. Well, that's what the meal was, because the 13 ate the 12. The 12 was the wave, and the 13's in the middle eating the 12. And that got us a 25, which is our 4 quarters, which gets you to 100. And that's Hundy red. And yeah, man, that's the infrared right there coming through the D. And you know what we do for the honey has the B, right? And both of those flowers, man.
Right?
Sure. Well, Todd, what do you say, brother? I mean, it's a decent
Yeah.
show. We got plans for next week coming up. Do we want to get some more guests on? What do we think?
Yeah, I did
Look,
reach
look.
out to a couple people. I haven't heard back, but yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
I've got
whatever, whatever we
I
do.
got maybe a person on my side that
Yeah,
they've got some stuff they'd want to say. I think maybe I'll check in on that.
yeah,
Um, and it would be a good balance to a lot of the stuff I say. This person in particular, I think a big part of the message that they want to share is to love yourself no matter what you look like. So even if you're in an image where you're overweight, or you're out of shape, don't let that beat you up. I mean, don't let that tear your spirit down, right? Don't let your pure spirit that's inside of this, all this gross physical matter, don't let that distract you from what you truly are. And now that's not saying to abuse it, for sure, but it has to start there. You have to know that, cosmically, purely, you are this this beautiful, untouchable thing that nothing could ever hurt you. And if you're ever going to come out of any image trap, you need that first. So I think she would be it'd be pretty awesome to listen to see what she says, how maybe she uses that in her own life,
yeah.
and yeah, it would be powerful for me, for
Let's
sure,
do it.
because I'm always I very much I can get stuck in judging the image really hard. I have a high threshold for what I expect out of the image. I mean, because the image is going to be a reflection of what's internal. So I want to reflect beautiful images in the he art, right? The heart is he art. It's showing you what's coming out, from the unseen father from inside. And the Father is the protector. This is just a placeholder for a concept of protection and security and something that knows more than you. That's what the Father is. It's this keeper of all knowledge. It's this keeper of all protection and strength, and then the concept of that mother, you've got the nurturing, you've got that healing, the regeneration, which would tie into Pluto quite a bit too, oddly enough, with the regeneration principles. But that was, it's God's greatest gift to man was woman. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's the ability to regenerate. You probably don't even need the re in there. Just generate, right? Just
Yeah.
get out of that re doing it again system and just generate. Just be.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Just be. It's
yeah,
easier. It's without having any experience in those realms. You
right.
you don't know what you don't know. So uh,
And and if you think about it, when you're not just being yourself, who you're supposed to be, it comes out awkward, right? You get an
right.
awkward image that comes out, and it's you shouldn't have to make anything up. You should just be able to express who you are and feel comfortable. You shouldn't have to be scared of what people are going to think about, or how they're going to arrange and judge you, or that should be something external that you let them play with. And that shouldn't bother you in the least bit. Nobody should be able to come up to you and say that you're dumb or you're stupid or you're ugly or you're anything like that, because you should know what you truly are. And all that external stuff would just be something that, how could they even have an opinion, right? I mean, they're not in your center. You're your own center. You're the one. Time revolves around you, literally. I mean, we all are in our own timelines. I mean, if you think about it, we were all born at kind of different moments. Even a twin, one came out
Right.
before the other one. I
Yeah.
mean, even in a birth chart right there, you can see the difference in twins when you start getting into, you got to know the minute, and then you can start to see if it was born 15, 20 seconds before, you can roll the clock back and you're going to start to see the Mercury, the Vulcan, and the moon differences right there. And degrees will change and different things will pop out of a set of twins just by, you know, seconds in between. I mean, that's what we don't understand. All the details are packed into those seconds. The second coming of Christ. I mean, every second counts.
Yeah.
Come
Hey, real
on. I
quick,
mean,
Joshua White asked if he could pull him a card.
yeah, man. I got you, brother. All right, Josh, I'm going to pull a card for you. This is going to be something that, the universe is trying to tap you on the shoulder. This card is going to be symbolic of something that, they've been trying to maybe show you, that we can wrap this all up in one image and just kind of get it to you. And absolutely, let's see what the universe is trying to show Josh here. Oh boy, what a card. Let me just get a picture going real quick so it starts loading. And everybody knows what the Empress looks like. So the 3 card, Venus. This is a beautiful card. And we're going to get this over here. Just get it up in chat real quick so you can post it, Todd.
Sure.
Okay, so what I see in this card for you, Josh, this is very much a lead to gold card for me. So I've got the position of the Empress as Venus in her false state right here. So over in Libra and balanced, we've got straw at the bottom showing you that the black sun has returned and it's taken all the green back, leaving you the gold. You've turned the lead to the gold. Notice the black trees in the background. We've got the shades, they're in the back, right? Not the front. The things that are in the front have color. The things that are in the back have shade and have form. So just in that background that shows you that concept alone. We've got, of course, Venus in the heart. That particular shape of the heart isn't anything arbitrary. If I'm not mistaken, that's a very Saturnian heart symbol. The way those straight lines kind of form down right there. You've got, an M and a V right there. You've got movement, right? So you've got the O in the middle as the Venus, MOV, move. Um, and add. You're the one that adds the movement. That's the plus sign right there. and that's showing you you're adding a circle. You're adding a sphere full of yellow, right? That Venus symbol colored in yellow right there is so yellow is going to be the other axis on the side of the black sulfur. When it's made visible, you've got the yellow sulfur. So it goes from the black unseen to the visible yellow, which is very much the Saturn SS system of the Saturn sun, going from that black sulfuric state to its tip, visible top of the mountain where the Lu appears, and you've got the yellow sulfur. Which, of course, we've got Jupiter, exalting right there. And Jupiter and Venus, of course, great friends, 120-degree angle versus the 60-degree. Venus is going to represent that sextile angle, of course, that's 60 degrees, and sex does tile, right? The sex and the six, they're very common, which is why this card has the three. It can really go either way, the 33, right? We've got movement. We're going from, excuse me, 32 to 33 is the movement of water. What's dipping in the background right over the edge right there? You've got a waterfall. So this is showing you the 33. This is showing you the movement from frozen ice, the cube, to the circle. We're circling the square with this move, with the three. You've got ladybugs all over the white cloth of Venus, with a crown of stars. In the crown of stars, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stars, showing you who the 13th is. This is also close to Ophiuchus, the 13th sign. This could very much be the particle in the middle causing the movement of the 12, right? She's got the 12 stars that she wears on her head, right? That we are born here, through the head of Aries, the leader, the ram. That's we might be born there, but the heart is where we live, right? We've got Leo right there coming up, and it's pretty much expressing the right after Cancer. We've got the right side, right? We've got the east of the Taur. So we've got the Aquarian feeding the fixed air, feeding the fixed fire. So you've got that black sun nature of Capricorn Aquarius over there, feeding the yellow, red and blue system of the red infrared sun and the blue moon, which we just went over. And then you've got Regulus, the red star, the eye of the lion there, casting the beam down and watching us, right? Feeding us the blood through the infrared system. Red is where you come from, blue is where you go. So any red or blue star, that's the direction of the circuit. Red is your gift that you've been given, and blue is going to be your gift that you're going to give. And you're going to be in the center of that. You don't have to move. You can stay in the crystal, the crystal. However, we like to let the things that ought to move move. We ought to show what ought to be expressed. The he art, if you've got some real he and you want to put down some art, not a bad place to be in the heart. That's what the woman's here. That's who the art's for. It's a big playgirl. That's all this is we're just putting out some fancy shit for the ladies. We center to the center. That's where everything becomes visible. That's the black that swallowed up the light inside. She's in the middle in there, in the woman, right? She's in the middle. And she's very special. And she's got a very soft touch. And that's really what we do it for. And it's why our system, our sun, if you look at where it's traveling to, it's traveling to right in between the two brightest stars of Hercules, A and B, the Alpha Beta star. And it's showing you that it's going to Hercules. We're really trying to figure out the woman. That's what we're trying to do. Which, once again, we're trying to find out what's in the box, right? We don't want to let all these ladies out. There's some real bitches out there. And bitches stay in the box, bitch. And the ladies, if you're laying that D down, if you're lying the sun down, if you're listening to the word, in the beginning was the word, and you're here. That's the H ear. What do you think you're supposed to do? You're supposed to listen to the word, not the spoken word, not what I'm trying to translate the unspoken word into the spoken word. And like I said, it comes out wonky. This is my best attempt at it, but the inner voice is going to be where we all need to be. That's inside of the woman, right? The woman she clings to it. She loves it. She eats that shit up. That's why she's in the middle of the black, heading towards that Christ doll, that center where everything emanates from. That's why if you have a crystal ball and you really want to work with your crystal ball, build a big ass black box, put your crystal ball in there, stick a little hole where your head can pop up in there, and be in a black area with your crystal, and then let the light transfer to you. You're going to be what it colors into. You're going to start to see things more and more and more. And that's just physically in physical matter world. If you want to play, you've got to set it up the way it works. You can't just throw a crystal ball out in open light and, expect to just easily work with it when it's not in its own nature. So you've got to understand how the nature flows, and then you got to put yourself in between its pathways and its circuits, and then you can get the message. But yeah,
Well put.
Josh, that's a perfect card for you as the 33. I mean, I think JC White is Jesus Christ White, man. White dress, red infrared ladybugs. Dude, you're bugging the lady, right? You're sitting in here poking the center. I mean, that's spot on. And what are you laying on? The pillows, right? The pillow. You swallow the pill down your stomach, and it's showing you where the pill goes into this where you stow the Mac, right? You're driving around, Mack trucks on the road. That's what's shipping everything around. I mean, it's a perfect car. Look at the crystal lattice too, showing you the crystal lattice Venus symbol being latticed behind the pillow right there in the black with the yellow. It shows you the gold. This is a very much black gold card, lead gold. I mean, it's the journey. It could be Saturn's journey, making the exalted woman, right? You're taking the gross woman and you're refining her into what is beautiful, everything that is beautiful. Pearls around the neck. I mean, look at that. That's right where the Vulcan, Taurus, the bridges, the neck that connects that vessel to that vessel, the lower field to the bigger field. That's the crystal ball. That's why men have an Adam's apple. Yep. That's why men have balls. Those two systems right there are etheric objects inside of us in certain areas that are aligned with certain parts of the cosmos. And yep. Now a male, that's
Nice.
the male. That's the male coming in, the message coming in, right? There's no fee on it. It's a free message. There's the female. She's the one that attaches the fee to the male, which is Bill Gates adding a fee at the gates, putting you on your designer drugs, trying to get you away from the real nature God, Pan. We're gonna bring back Pan America. We're gonna fucking. It's all happening, dude. It might take us millennia, but we got all the time in the world. Literally, it's
No.
it's our time, and
Now.
it's
Hurry
yeah,
up.
man.
Stop wasting time.
Yeah, and literally waste
Yeah,
10.
you're
Think
always
of those two
wasting.
words, the sun belt, the girdle, right? You need to put the counterbalance weight on. It's petering a little bit. So find your
Yeah.
balance point, balance out the rim on the wheel, and then you're going to get a nice, perfect circle without a wobble. And that's pretty much right there, your whole wobble, which then the seasons go away, and then it's fucking coconuts and papayas everywhere on this ball, all times of the year, up and down to the
Nice.
poles. Yep. All right, Todd. 1, 2, 3, 4, man.
Perfect.
It is perfect. It's a 10, literally, like the Pythagoras and whatnot. So,
Mm,
all right, everybody. Next week's number 9, the Hermit. Right? We've got the Hermit show coming up. The 9. We might unhermit it and bring in some guests. Who knows? You might just hear
yeah.
me go crazy for a couple hours with Todd. And yeah, no
Yeah.
telling, but
We'll see what
people that
happens.
listen, seriously, thank you so much. I mean, it sounds like we might be getting a few more people here and here each week. So if you can, like, share, comment. I mean, I guess on the live comments, it shows up a couple days later or something like that. So just the dumb rules of YouTube, I guess. So we'll do what we can.
Yeah.
But seriously, everybody, thank you so much. And yeah, man, I love you all. That's all I know.
Yo. Uh, yeah. Have a good week, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Awesome.